Question 13. The graph of the functions f of x and h of x are shown on the coordinate grid on the right. So here's our x-axis, here's our y-axis, here is a straight line, and here is a curve. So one of them is f of x and one of them is h of x. The functions are f of x equals x plus 1, h of x equals x squared minus 3x minus 1. Part A, match the functions to the graphs by writing f of x or h of x in the box next to the corresponding graphs. So we're going to write inside here either h of x or f of x. Part B, for one of the functions above, give a reason for your answer to part A. Okay, so f of x equals x plus 1. This has to be the straight line because we just have an x value. F of x equals x plus 1, or f of x equals x minus 9, or f of x equals 2x plus 5, anything like that that just has an x value in it must be a straight line. So this straight line here must be f of x. Then h of x equals x squared minus 3x minus 1. This is going to be a U-shaped graph because we have an x squared. If it was a minus x squared, it would be an n-shaped graph, but since it's a positive x squared, it's a U-shape. So this is clearly a U-shape, so this has to be h of x. So we've matched the functions to the graphs. Part B, for one of the functions, give a reason for your answer. Well, if I just choose f of x, which was the first one, the straight line. F of x is a linear function, which means it's going to be a straight line graph. Alternatively, we could have chosen h of x and said that the x squared part gives us a U-shaped graph. Either answer is fine. Part C, use the graphs to estimate the solution of the equation x plus 1 equals x squared minus 3x minus 1 between minus 1 and 4. And part D, work out the value of h of 8. Remember that h of x equals x squared minus 3x minus 1. First of all, it's important to note that it says use the graphs. So we literally have to use our graph. We're going to have to draw on our graph. And we're trying to estimate the solution of this equation. Now, x plus 1 was our f of x function, and x squared minus 3x minus 1 was our h of x function. And if we're trying to figure out where they equal, so where the solution of them is, where they equal, that just means where do they cross over, where do they intersect. So if this is our straight line, and this is our U-shaped graph, so this point right here is where they cross over. That's where they are equal to each other. So what we have to do is get very close to our graph and drop a perpendicular, so draw a line straight down from where our intersection point is, which is right there, to where it touches the graph. Now, this point here is minus 1, this is 0, and this is 1. So we have 0, then we have minus 0.5, and we have minus 1. So if this is 0, and this is minus 0.5, then just before it is about minus 0.4. So I estimate that to be about minus 0.4 because just above it would be minus 0.5. So the place where they are equal is the point of intersection, so x is equal to minus 0.4. So that is the place where they cross over. Part D, work out the value of h of 8. Remember that h of x equals x squared minus 3x minus 1. Well, you can see that we had h bracket x bracket, and now we have an 8 in place of that x, so we've got h bracket 8 bracket. So all we've done is swapped the x for an 8, so that's what we're going to have to do down here. Every x value is going to be swapped for an 8 with brackets around it. The brackets are very, very important. So h of 8 is going to be equal to 8 squared minus 3 times 8 minus 1, which will give us 39. If we were asked for h of 5, we would have substituted 5 in place of both of the x's. If we were asked for h of minus 2, we would have substituted minus 2 in place of both of the x's. If we were asked for minus 3.6, we would have substituted minus 3.6 in place of both of the x's. Factorize x squared plus 6x minus 7, and then using the factors from part A or otherwise solve the equation. X squared plus 6x minus 7. Okay, so I'm going to do the factorization by grouping method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down my first term, which is an x squared. I'm going to bring down my last term, which is a minus 7. X squared technically has a 1 in front of it, and 1 multiplied by 7 gives us 7, and we have to just get the factors of 7, which is just going to be 7 by 1. There are no other factors because 7 is a prime number. But if we did have other factors, for example, if this was a 6, we would say 1 by 6 and 2 by 3. But since it's a prime number, we only have one set of factors, which is 7 and 1. So what I need to do is have a look at the sign in front of the constant, which is the sign in front of the 7, the number at the end, and that's a minus. And this tells me that these two signs here are going to be different. If it was a plus, it would tell me that they're going to be the same. But it's a minus, so I know that they're different. Now I have to choose 7 and 1 because they're the only factors of 7. But I need to arrange them so that I end up with plus 6. So 1 has to be a plus and 1 has to be a minus. So I'm going to go with plus 7 minus 1 because 7 minus 1 is 6. If I'd done it the other way around, having minus 7 plus 1, I would have got to minus 6, which is not going to work because I want plus 6. So 7 minus 1 gives me 6. 7x minus 1x gives me 6x. Now I have 4 terms, and I'm going to group the first two together, and I'm going to factorize those. So x squared plus 7x, what's common to both? Well, x is common to both, so I take the x outside the bracket. And then x into x squared leaves me with x, and x into plus 7x leaves me with plus 7. So I factorized those first two terms there. Now I'm going to factorize both of these terms. I have minus 1x minus 7, and the only thing that will divide into both of them is minus 1. So minus 1 into minus 1x leaves me with x, minus 1 into minus 7 leaves me with plus 7. So then I notice I have x plus 7 is common to both brackets, so x plus 7 is one of my factors, and then I bring down that x, and I bring down that minus 1, and x minus 1 is my other factor. And I can see up here that they already gave me x plus 7. So the only thing I need to fill in is the x minus 1. Now I'm going to check if I'm right by multiplying out the brackets and seeing do I get back to the quadratic equation that I started with. So I have x plus 7 times x plus 1 minus 1. I'm going to crack open the first egg, and I'm going to bring down the x and stick on the second egg, which I did not crack open. I'm going to bring down the plus 7 and again stick on the second egg, which I did not crack open. X by x is x squared, x by minus 1 is minus 1x, 7 by x is 7x, 7 by minus 1 is minus 7. I'm going to group together my like terms, so I can put together the minus 1x and the plus 7x, and they give me plus 6x. I'm going to bring down the x squared and the minus 7. So I have x squared plus 6x minus 7, which is a quadratic equation, a U-shaped graph, and that's what I started off with, so my factors are correct. Part 2, using the factors, so using these, from part A or otherwise solve the equation. Well, all I have to do is let what's inside this set of brackets equal to 0 and solve for x. So x plus 7 equals 0. To get the x on its own, I need to get rid of the plus 7. The opposite of plus 7 is minus 7. If I minus 7 to the left, I must minus 7 to the right. So I can cancel those out, and I get x is equal to minus 7. Then I'm going to let the right set of brackets also equal to 0, so x minus 1 equals 0. Then I'm going to add 1 to both sides to get rid of the minus 1. And I'm going to have x is equal to 1. So solving the equation, I get two x values, x equals minus 7, and x is equal to 1. Part B, solve the following simultaneous equations. 3x plus 2y equals 39, and x plus 2y equals 25. So solve means to find. We're trying to find x and find y. What are they equal to? Okay, so what we want to do is either get rid of the x's or get rid of the y's, because we're trying to find one letter first. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, but at the moment the easiest thing would be to change this 2y, this plus 2y, to a minus. Because if we have plus 2y and plus 2y, that gives us plus 4y. But if we change this to a minus, we have plus 2y minus 2y, which cancels out. It gives us 0. If we have €2 in the bank and we minus €2 from the bank, we're left with €0. If we have 2 bars of chocolate and we eat 2 bars of chocolate, we've no bars of chocolate left. So basically what you want is to have the same number and one of them to be a plus and one of them to be a minus, and it doesn't matter which is which. Now if I change this plus to a minus, I have to change the signs of everything on that line. So this plus x becomes a minus x, and this plus 25 becomes a minus 25. Now the rule is not that we just make everything a minus. That is not the rule. The rule is that we change it to its opposite. So for example, if this 25 had started as a minus 25, we will be changing it to a plus 25. You just change it to the opposite. So we have 3x minus 1x is 2x. The 2y minus 2y, they cancelled out. And 39 minus 25 is 14. So we have 2x equals 14. We want to get the x on its own. It has a 2 stuck on, so we have to divide by 2 on both sides. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So now we have x is equal to 7. Now we substitute x equals 7 into one of the equations to find y. It doesn't matter which one, but I'm just going to go with the top equation. So I'm going to write the equation out again. So I got it from over here, 3x plus 2y equals 39. I'm going to swap the x for a set of brackets, and I'm putting 7 inside the brackets. It's very, very important whenever we do substitution, you swap your letter for brackets. If I'd not swapped that letter for brackets, this would become 37, which is not the right answer. So the x gets swapped for a set of brackets, and we put 7 inside the bracket because we got x to be 7. So we're going to have 3 multiplied by 7 is 21, plus 2y equals 39. We want to now get the y on its own, so we have to get rid of the 21 and the 2, but we always get rid of the single number first. So we're going to minus 21 to both sides. So we bring down the 2y, and 39 minus 21 is 18. Now we've 2 stuck onto y, so we have to divide by 2 to get rid of it, and divide by 2 on the right as well. And 18 divided by 2 is 9. So we can check are we right by subbing our x value and our y value back into one of the equations. So let's say we go with the top one. So I have 3x plus 2y equals 39. I'm going to swap the x for 7, and I'm going to swap the y for 9 with brackets. So 3 times 7 plus 2 times 9 equals 39. 3 times 7 is 21. 2 times 9 is 18 equals 39. And 21 plus 18 is 39, which does equal 39. So since my equation is balanced, I have the same number on the left of the equal sign as the right of the equal sign, I know that my answers are correct. X does equal 7 and y does equal 9.